you might look from the outside looking in from an element of followers or her realm on magazine, Success Magazine, Entrepreneur Magazine, like all these different places, Forbes she's been featured in, her own podcast that has over 11 million downloads, and think, oh, she's had it easy. She's been fed the silver spoon. Something about her life has not been the way my life is, and therefore we judge and compare, and we actually put ourselves outside of what I believe the blessing is, just in the connectivity of being in connection with you and knowing one another. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to hear, like, where did it get started? Tell us about, the backstory. And I saw your facial reaction for those who aren't watching. That's so far from the truth.
Oh my gosh, it's so far from the truth. I guess I would start with just folks understanding how I became America's money maven. So many people know me as a personal finance expert. And so that would have them assume that I've just always been so passionate about numbers and money and all that great stuff. And some of that is true. I got into real estate at 19 years old. I became a licensed real estate professional in California. And then during senior year in college at the University of Southern California, I took what was supposed to be just like a college project and turned it into an actual business. So I became licensed as a real estate and mortgage broker as well, and launched a boutique real estate mortgage brokerage at 21 years old. And by 25, that became a 7-figure business, and thought I would ride out into the sunset. And to be clear, that was out of true just grit and tenacity and resilience, because I'm from South Central Los Angeles. I'm Belizean American. I'm first generation American. I don't come from a family or a background that was like, steeped in any of the things that I was doing. But it was really the sheer desire to prove a professor wrong, who said, "You'll never do that." We're like, kind of like, "What do you think this is?" Because in my project, I shared that I didn't plan on applying for grad school or getting a job. I was actually going to move forward with this business. And he thought I was nuts and gave me the worst grade of like senior year. And I was like, "I'll show you." And so I showed him. I went on, you go. Had this 7-figure success and thought I had made it. Looking back now, I realized what an empty idea of success that was.
Yeah.
But thought I made it because I lived in a big house, and my husband at the time and I drove matching Range Rovers, and I had all the things, and it looked good on the outside. And I thought it was good. I genuinely did, until I was 20 weeks pregnant in 2007, and I took a fall down the stairs, and it sent me into preterm labor. And when I got to the hospital, to the emergency room, they said, "I'm so sorry, ma'am. This baby's going to come any minute now. Like, you just have to sit here and wait." And I did the only thing I knew to do. I started praying, and I called other people and asked them to pray. And what was supposed to be any minute now actually turned into me being on hospital bed rest for 10 weeks.
Come on.
Nothing but God, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that I share that, though, is because during that time, if you were in real estate or finance or anything, what was happening.
Right.
That's the beginning of what would become a full-blown recession. And so I'm in the hospital on bed rest, watching the news every day, and I'm watching the banks that I work with close down. Left and right. I have 16 loan officers and real estate agents on my team who cannot close a deal to save their lives. They are calling me every day, freaking out because the banks are closing. So that means the approval is null and void. We have clients who have sellers who are threatening to keep their deposit and go with another buyer. We're missing deadlines, and they are calling me freaking out, and they are so used to me being able to fix.
Right.
And I couldn't fix anything.
Right. Yeah.
And about 5 weeks into that hospital stay, Tamra, is when my doctor came in and she said, "Patrice, we're monitoring the baby with that belt around your waist. If you don't stop stressing, you're going to leave here 2 years in a row with no baby." I lost a son the year before, same hospital, same floor, same doctor.
Wow.
So that was the first time I remember having a true lesson in what it meant to surrender.
Yep.
Because I thought of surrendering being, many of us think surrender is about giving up, but I learned it was letting go of the control I thought I had. I couldn't control the market. I couldn't control real estate. I couldn't control what these agents were going to do. The only thing that I could do was try to keep myself, at peace
Yeah.
so that I could bring my baby into this world healthy.
Right.
So I asked them to take the TV off the wall, Tamra.
That's a good one right there. Minimizing the junk.
I said, take it off the wall. They were like, by take it off the wall, you mean take it off the wall. Like there's a little box TV swivel, a little set. And they came and took it off the wall. And my husband brought me an iPod full of praise and worship music, my Bible, and a red leather journal. And every day I wrote prayers and sang songs to my baby. And she was born 10 weeks. Still 10 weeks premature. She was a little over 30, about 30 weeks, 5 days when she came. But she was healthy. And she stayed in the NICU for 3.5 weeks. And so when I left after my 10-week stay and her 3.5-week stay, I left with a healthy baby and also a healthy amount of medical debt, almost $1,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
No deals closed. And my husband had been exhausting all of our reserves and savings trying to keep everything afloat. So needless to say, a year after this, by the time about a year had gone by, I was exhausted. I had nothing left to give. I was plumb out of like the cute little cliches and all the things that kind of keep you going. I was just done. Wow. And we had our home foreclosed, cars were repossessed. We ended up moving to Louisiana, where we lived in a teeny tiny apartment. And that was where God found me. Like that, God always, he never had lost track. Okay.
Right.
But that was where God finally got my attention and where I began to realize that what I was experiencing did not happen to me. It was happening for me. And I'll tell you why. I got in the bathroom mirror one day in this teeny tiny apartment. And it finally was like a moment to myself because my husband took the baby. Earlier that day, I had chased the power man down, begging them to turn the lights back on. We were in a season of endless eviction notices every month. And we were driving around in an old beat up truck with no insurance. And I had gone to the welfare office and applied for food stamps. Like all the things you could have never told me when I was graduating from USC that would be my experience. And at every turn, I just felt like every door was being slammed shut and the windows were bolted. Like nothing that I touched turned to gold. It turned to wood, if that. Like it was awful. And I just got fed up. And I got in the mirror in the bathroom and I was like, God, why me? Like, why me? Like, I have been a good person. I have always treated people fairly. I have always tried to operate with integrity. Like, this does not make any sense, And I started to think that I literally would think about every bad thing I had ever done in my life. Sure. And I would be like, okay, it's punishment for that.
This is why. Right. Trying to justify something, but this wouldn't make sense otherwise. Yeah.
This doesn't make sense. This is too much. Like, I just don't feel like I've been that bad of a person.
Yeah.
Well, that led to me bawling and snotting and crying. It led to me, literally yelling out, God, you got to show me something. And I remember being on the bathroom floor in fetal position, like forehead on the linoleum. And I was like, you got to tell me something. And I felt the Holy Spirit say, get your Bible. I got my Bible and I landed on Proverbs 17:16. And it said, what good is money in the hands of a fool if they have no desire to seek wisdom? What good is money in the hands of a fool if they had no desire to seek wisdom? And the reason that my name today is still on Instagram is wisdom. That literally changed everything for me because it taught me that while I have been very, very smart, book smart, I could pass a test. I could get a certification. I could, pass the broker's exam on the first try. I could do all of those things. I had a lot of knowledge. I didn't have wisdom.
That's good.
And wisdom comes from application. We live in a time right now where people think because they listen to podcasts and they read books and they go to conferences and they can Google whatever they want, they assume they're wise. You have no wisdom until you understand the application of the information or the education. And I knew a lot of things. I didn't quite understand how to apply it. Many of us who are believers, we hear a lot of things. Our parents, our grandparents may indoctrinate us with a lot of things. But the reason that we can't fully embrace it and follow through with it is because we don't always have our own connection with.
Yeah, encounter, sure.
We don't have our own encounter, and therefore we don't have our own solid conviction around it.
Right.
So the other thing the Holy Spirit showed me in that moment on the floor, I felt compelled to look up the difference between knowledge and wisdom. I also felt compelled to look up wealth. Like it was in me.
Yeah.
And that was the day, it was March 9th, 2009 in Metairie, Louisiana. I will never forget. I looked up wealth and my spirit was like, go deeper, because the initial definition that we all see of wealth is money and material possessions.
Mm-hmm.
When you actually go deeply into the word, the original 12th century definition of wealth is the condition of well-being. That was the game changer. That was the thing where I was like, I know that I lost all my money, but my mind isn't bad.
Yeah.
What if I just like tried to be well? What if I just tried to be well? That was my initial thing.
Wow.
I just want to be well. And so what I do today is take people through what I call the 6 pillars of wealth. But these are the parts of life where I believe we need to remove clutter and be well so that we can experience the financial blessings that